All right, let's say hello to one of the big winners from this past Saturday's UFC 256 event. He knocks out Daniel Pineda in the second round, first fight in over 14 months. And in a year like this, we needed a good feel-good story, and that's exactly what we got on Saturday night. Cub Swanson joins the program. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, thanks.
That was some fight. I mean, that first round was absolutely insane. There was a little bit of everything. Leg kicks, fight was on the mat, on the feet, submission attempts, knockdowns, a little bit of everything, Cub. Heck of a first 5 minutes of action after 14 months away, was it not?
Yeah, I was definitely trying not to get kicked in the leg so much, but yeah, that was a factor, and it made it an interesting fight.
How was the leg feeling heading into the second round? Because clearly the momentum had shifted in your favor at the end of the round. It's kind of that mind over matter type of deal. What's your mind telling you as you're getting ready to head to the stool in between those two rounds?
I knew it basically was telling me, like, look, you're fine right now, but let's not keep pushing it. Let's not take too many more of those. Let's get to work. That's pretty much what my mind was telling me in between rounds.
You're like, let's get this thing done before the adrenaline starts to wear off, right?
Exactly. Well, just because I knew my knee was pretty solid, everything I had done, I feel like I did a great job rehabbing it. All the people I had around me helping me, everyone's like, just trust it, just trust it. And yeah, I was trusting it, but maybe a little too much.
Did it take a little bit of time, like, to kind of deal with that? I mean, you've been in the fight game for a while, but when you have an injury like that and the rehab and all of those things, it's only natural to kind of think about it a little more than maybe some people would, and vice versa. But like, what was that like for you? Was it easy to trust it, or was it something you had to work on?
No, it was pretty easy for me to trust it. I think what kept me in check was knowing that whatever I did to it, whatever envelope I pushed, I was going to have to do that much more rehab. So every training session that I pushed it really hard, I'd have to pull back on the other side and go, okay, now I got to ice it twice as much. I got to rest it. I got to take this day off. So that was more of the headache during the whole camp.
Second round in this fight, man, big shots early. You had him in big trouble. He had that deep single on you, but you were able to stay on your feet before you landed the right hand that ultimately ended the fight. When you got through that single and stayed on your feet, did you know deep down like the end was near? Because it seemed to me, watching him from home, his confidence was kind of in a rough place after that. Did you sort of feel that as well?
I kind of knew when I was sitting in between the first and second round on the stool. My cornerman was trying to give me advice and all that, but I really was just thinking about, I know this is about to be over. I was telling myself, don't take any more leg kicks. It's a little unnecessary. But I just knew that he couldn't recover. I saw the way he was wobbling after I dropped him in the first, and I landed some nice elbows at the end of the round. But yeah, I knew that he couldn't recover. I knew he was going to come back, and it would only take another shot to really get him, wobbling around. So I was confident that the fight was going to be over in the second round.
First finish since July of 2013, 6.5 years. And it was one of the best finishes of your entire career. Getting a win after going through that injury would have been great on its own, I'm sure. But going out there and doing that and putting him away the way that you did, that must have felt like $1 million.
Well, it did, just with everything that was going on, I've talked about it. The 4-fight losing streak just was different for my career, and it felt like it was hard to shake. And it got to a point, like even in the Kron fight, where I've had so much time in between fights, and you think about the last time you were in there, you have little memories of, oh yeah, this is what it felt like. And all those memories were attached to losses, so it was difficult, so trying to tell yourself, don't have those thoughts is not easy. It's something that comes with it. So like I said, with everything that was going on, with 2020 being so crazy, with the injury, with, trying to come back and have a great performance and to actually go out there and do it was amazing.
I've talked to so many fighters over the years, and I feel Not all of them have felt this way, but I feel like a vast majority of them at some point in their career, they have to find the love for the sport again. Like, it just becomes taxing at times, especially doing what you guys do and training every day and getting in fights. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. You went through a rough stretch. Was there a time for you where you had to dig down and find that love for the sport again, or did you always love it and never sort of veered away from you?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved it, but I think it's your motivation for me that's been the hardest thing. Was, when I was super young, and everybody that has been a fan of mine since like even the WEC days. I was just tough as nails, fearless, and I that's what made me tick, and I'm not those things anymore. I'm fearless, but I plan ahead. I'm strategic. I'm smarter. That I'm just a different person than I was then. So I think that digging down and finding out where your head's at when the fight is about to come. That I used to go to a dark place, and I don't. That's not really a place I want to go anymore. I got kids. I enjoy my life. I have a good time, and I don't feel like I needed to go there anymore. And this time was the first time I kind of accepted that, and just it's like, hey, time to evolve. And I feel like I've been struggling with that over the last 4 or 5 years, where sometimes you show up, sometimes you don't. You're like, what's my deal? And I feel like this one it clicked, and it was like I felt like I graduated in a sense to a new level.
Yeah, you accepted Cub 2.0 is here. Like, you're
Yeah.
now you're just a different, different mindset, different guy, different motivations. You weren't in the dark place heading into the fight, but like, what kind of place were you in? Like, what was that? What were some of the things you were thinking about? Like, what were some of the different things that were going on in your mind?
I was relaxed. Before I would listen to music. I would start to like let this dog out of me, and transform into like this dark part of me that was vicious. And I would come out and be pumped. But part of what the downside of that is, sometimes you could be too pumped and you're tight and you're not as fluid as you want to be. And I knew that for this fight, I needed to be fluid. I needed to go out there and be fast and be snappy. And so I thought that going to that place was just going to make me stiff and make me tight. And that wasn't going to be a good thing for me. And so I think when I thought about the way I go when I go spar these pro boxers all the time, and I'm like, man, these dudes hit hard. I need to be on point. And usually what I do is I'm just relaxed. I don't do a lot of warming up. I think about everything I'm going to be doing. And I just kind of took that approach. And I just it felt right.
Did not having a crowd help that? Did it help enhance it? Because normally when you come out and you see all those people, you're just like, it's kind of hard not to get fired up and allow yourself to get in that place. Did not having a crowd sort of help enhance that in your mind a little bit?
I think so. Yeah. And now that was one of the things I was excited about. I was like, it's just one less thing that you got to deal with. And that was part of the reason I think I had to learn how to pump myself up too, was to even, I'm pretty shy, quiet person in general. So for me to have to go out and perform in front of 20,000 people, sometimes you do got to pump yourself up and kind of mentally prepare for that. And we'll see what happens when we get back to crowds, and how I'll make those adjustments. I think I'll do fine. But just for, this time, having no crowd and just being able to just focus on just that one task, it felt nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighters that they actually prefer it. They prefer not fighting with the crowd because it takes some pressure off. It's almost like a high level sparring match. Seems to be a cliched thing they say, and you can hear not just your corner, you can hear your opponent's corner. It's like it's a little more relaxed, but it's like a little more primal too in a way. Like, what did you think of the whole experience? Well,
I also think that, because I was thinking about it when we first had the no crowd, fights started getting a little bit more brutal. I was like, this is interesting, that we're having hard, tougher fights. And it dawned on me finally, we always assume that the crowd is affecting the winner. but I think more so the crowd influences the loser. So when you're losing a fight and you're hearing boos and you're hearing, oh, when you're getting hit, I think it's making fighters give in sooner. And I think since we've had no crowd, you're getting fighters not realizing they're losing is bad, and they're fighting harder and they're fighting longer. That's my theory.
That's a really good way to look at it. What about do you notice a difference between like the big cage and the small cage? Because that's been like a big debate here in 2020 is, are the fights better in the big cage? Dana White said, oh, there's no difference in the numbers, but it feels like with the fans and the media members are like, the small cage rules, because it seems like you can't help but have action. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's old school WEC day side. So, it definitely forces more action. And then I was pretty happy because I have the same size at my UFC gym in Costa Mesa. And that's where I did all my training. So up until the last 2 weeks when things started to get shut down again, I was able to use that cage and have the exact same, replica. So I was happy with it. I thought he was going to try to take me down a little bit more. And so we were worried about the size being a factor, but it ended up being just fine.
The post-fight interview is amazing because as a dad myself, like I totally understood where you're coming from. Like our kids can sometimes put us on this pedestal and it almost feels at times impossible to live up to that. And it gets into your mind a little bit. Like you're like, for you, like you're their superhero. Like you had a superhero like performance. Like it's amazing what the mind can do when things get tough. You can think about them and it gives you like that extra bit of oomph you need to get through those hard times. It seemed like in that moment you knew you made him proud, and that's a pretty powerful thing, is it not?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm one of those people that, when I've coached fighters, I've been very stern and very direct and tell them, sometimes you just got to suck it up, and that's what we do. So when it's my turn and I'm feeling that pressure and I'm feeling all those things that, maybe make you feel weaker. I just remind myself like, hey man, you preach it, you gotta be the man, you gotta do your thing. So, that's kind of the mindset I had and knowing that my kids are pretty young now, but they're going to look back on these days and they're going to be like, this is how you felt at that point and you still did it. That's inspiring. And that's kind of like how I was thinking about it. Also, I feel like this day and age, we got a lot of people that want to put on shows and, act a certain way. I feel like at this point in my career, I'm more inspirational to a lot of these up and coming fighters. And I want them to know like that everyone has these feelings, it's normal and it's part of it and it's good. It makes you stronger. It makes you learn how to deal with these kinds of things. So I don't want to put on this fake front like we're indestructible and like we don't have feelings and we don't, get scared. And I wanted to make that known that we all deal with it.
That's awesome, man. How old are your kids, if you don't mind me asking?
I have a 3-year-old and two 2-year-olds.
Oh, there you go. Oh boy. So you're running around like a madman.
3 kids in diapers. Yeah. It's crazy. So like, even now I got this broken hand. I'm still changing diapers. My wife is helping out a lot. But yeah, I'm, still got to get them out of the crib and change diapers and do all those things. Like, so.
Yeah, you can't, you can go between fights. You can't go between like rounds of being a dad. It just doesn't stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And it shouldn't. Like, I got no excuse, I got, my hands hurt, but, they still need their diaper changed and they still need to be fed and put to bed and all that stuff.
There are many people out there in MMA fanland, Cub, who thought you got the big fat hose job when it came to the bonuses. Like the fight of the night was a no-brainer because the main event ruled. And then we knew Kevin Holland was going to get one because that knockout of Jacare was crazy. But there's a lot of folks who felt you should have got that fourth bonus over Rafael Fiziev because it seemed like yours was more emphatic and without any controversy whatsoever. What say you? Did you feel like you got shortchanged a little bit in the bonus department?
I feel like if I said, yeah, I'm being ungrateful because I mean, I've had so many. Um, and it's funny, like some of my biggest knockouts, I didn't get bonuses. The George Roop fight, I didn't get it, and I made Sports Center. This one, but I mean, it's okay as long as I'm always in contention. Then I'm doing my job. You know, it's a stat that if people would never say, but I'm pretty proud of is even all my losses were bonus involved. So I think aside from maybe one or two, you know, so I've won a lot of bonuses. I've helped other people get bonuses, but the fact of the matter is it's an exciting fight and the people want to watch it.
Does it mean more to you that you entertained so many people that people are still talking about the finish over getting the bonus itself?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are the kinds of things that last forever, you know, is, you know, legacy. I'm known to be an exciting fighter and putting it all out there. So, I mean, for my family, I always want more money because it helps around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point in my career, everything I make, I'm you know, making sure that it's setting me and my family up for forever.
Maybe they're planning on what they did with Figueiredo after his previous fight. Maybe they'll just give you a big bag of cash to make up for it.
I mean, that would be nice.
Enough.
I definitely wouldn't complain about that. But you know what? I said this, you know, in a tweet is like, I got to be grateful. When I injured my knee in that grappling tournament, that there was special event insurance for that event, and they were already trying to get me an MRI. And then the UFC just literally took over the whole thing. They booked me another MRI somewhere else, drove me there, got me crutches, set up an appointment for me to go with the top knee surgeon, made sure that I had physical therapy taken care of for the entire year. So they literally paid for everything and took care of everything. So I'm super grateful for that. And so, yeah, if I couldn't complain about not getting a bonus.
That's a fair trade-off then. I would agree with that. Besides the hand, any other injuries coming out of the fight?
No, my knee's good. I got it checked out today, got it flushed out. It's just swollen. Like I said, when, you know, any kind of workout I would do and have to ice it and get it to calm back down, it's like that, but times 20. Just it's a little swollen in the joint, and I'm trying to get it out. So I'm probably gonna have to start riding the bike today.
There you go. Next move, I'm guessing, is enjoy the holidays with the family, enjoy the win, because, you know, after taking a year, I guess, like after taking a year off, now you get to deal with healing up the hand. Do you want to try to get back in as soon as you can in 2021, or are you just in no rush at this point? Like whenever the time comes, the time comes.
No, I'd like to get right back in. You know, I took a year off, and it's not like I felt a difference this time. I'm noticing it little by little. Like I'm just as fast. I'm just as sharp. It's just that I need longer rest days. You know, majority of the camp on the weekends, I was having to take Saturday and Sunday off instead of just one day. And that's fine. Just listening to my body and knowing how to get the best out of myself without pushing it too hard. And so I know that I'm not trying to fight past 40. And so I'd like to get as many in as I can and, you know, keep the train moving.
Is this as free as you felt as a fighter in a long time?
Yeah, pretty much. I'd say that was safe to say. And obviously, you know, I thought I was going to have to worry about his takedowns a little bit more and less about the leg kicks, but it was a lot about the leg kicks and less about takedowns. So, you know, when you have to think about something like that, it you know, I usually have to throw, you know, no more than 3 strikes at a time and then make sure I'm moving. That way I'm not an easy target. But yeah, overall it was a pretty freeing experience.
Did you watch the main event on Saturday?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh man, you're in for a treat.
Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah. So I mean, it's crazy too. Brandon Moreno is such like a nice guy, and you just wouldn't expect him to be in wars like that. Figueiredo seems like a monster. Like he seems like he wants to be in wars like that all the time. But yeah, I definitely want to see the fight still.
Yeah, I talked to Moreno yesterday, and same attitude, smiling, laughing, time of his life. Just
Yeah,
it's so funny. Like, and then he goes in there and has a war with a guy like Figueiredo, who takes those massive shots from such a powerful guy, and still smiling, still loving life. It's amazing.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
What else is awesome, Cub, was your performance on Saturday. It was amazing to see you get back in there after the recovery and just have the performance like that. I'm glad to see you in just a great place mentally and physically right now, and really excited to see what you got to bring to the table in 2021, man. Happy holidays to you and the family, and I appreciate the time.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll find something out soon. Hopefully early next year. But either way, I appreciate all the support.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Have a good day, man.
All right, you too.
Appreciate it.
Later.